Hey everyone, and welcome to Group Up With Me, Hungover Media's esports show. This week we're going again into Overwatch League, the last week world preview of Stage 3, as well as going back to week 4 of Stage 3 and checking out what we found interesting or were delighted with. My name's Yvonne over there.
Julien, welcome to the show, guys. This is going to be a good one. We've got a lot to talk about.
Group up with me. Let's start off by just some Overwatch news. We know that Symmetra has already gone through an incredible rework from her launch, but this is the character that has received the most amount of attention and is going to again. She's going through a second rework right now that's going to totally change her ability set and how even things such as her damage works. So Julien, what she's going to have is more something as her primary attack. It's going to be something that's more akin to a Zarya blast than what her lock-on target thing is, which is a welcome change, I think.
Yeah, I think that obviously puts a little more skill into the damage that she does from her left click mouse button, that is. And I think that's obviously a welcome change. The more skill based we can make this game, I think the better, personally.
Symmetra One Tricks, be warned. So she's going to
Thank
have a
God.
beam that goes out, which will rank up in DPS, similar to how her lock-on beam does now, but it won't lock on. It will have a reduced cooldown in terms of how that increased DPS goes, and her right-click projectile will move a little bit faster too. It will triple in speed, I think.
Whoa, that's really much faster.
Yes.
Does it do the same amount of damage? Do you
I'm.
know?
I think it do. They're playing with the DPS. I think it deals about the same amount of damage. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So the other things that she'll have is her turrets. They're talking about having her turrets as kind of projectiles, so that they'll travel through the air and be able to stick onto different places. She'll have 3 up and 3 in reserve at any given time.
Okay.
And she's also, they're talking about completely reworking her ult and her abilities. So instead of the shield barrier that she projects, she'll now have a teleporter she'll place where the exit is by projecting it out, kind of the same way that you would project a barrier out into some place. And the entrance will spawn exactly where she is. And they're
Okay.
playing around with the kinds of things that can go through it. So obviously teammates will be able to go through it, but they're even experimenting with like a Torbjorn turret or an exploding Diva mech or even a
That's cool.
Junkrat tire. So it'll lead to a lot more subterfuge and delivery of the payload, I think,
Well,
in
that's
terms of the
really
Diva bomb.
interesting. I didn't know that until you just said that. Thank you for telling me that. That is really cool, actually. And I think that'll make for some epic plays if you can send like a diva bomb through it or the Torbjorn turret. That'd be pretty cool. That's interesting that they're going back to that idea because originally I think I've heard a developer talk about the game, and they said the original concept for Symmetra's teleporter was that you place an entrance and an exit for the teleporter, but they thought that it would be too complicated to set up. So it's interesting that they're going back to that idea and also not making it her ultimate ability.
Yeah.
That's
I think it's really cool. Her ultimate will change into a shield barrier that is something more akin to Mei's Ice Wall with a lot more health.
yeah.
It will be pretty large, and you can place it in multiple different ways, I think, just like Mei's Wall will work, but it will have something on the order of 5,000 health, and we'll see how that comes out when she comes to the PTR, or they reveal what her rework is in general, especially I know Jeff loves to come out with those videos, and we'll see the mashup of Jeff talking about how great Symmetra is afterwards. Thank you, everyone who does those videos.
Those guys put so much effort into that. It's crazy.
I
It's like
know!
I wish I had that much time to do anything. That is so crazy.
We do have that much time. We do it
I know.
with the collection of videos that we put out every week.
Yeah, but
And
we like to put out different types of videos. But I do like those videos.
So, moving on into news from around the league, let's check out our stage standings. On top of the league, we still have. This is the wrong thing.
God damn it, Ivan. God damn.
Is it the right thing? Hold on. Let me go check out these. Yeah, no, sorry. It was the right thing.
I thought it was the right thing.
Boston. Ah, okay. That's what they're doing. Okay. And in talking about effort, let's go into the stage standings where we see that Boston has given maximum effort and maintained
These
their
guys
8-0 streak.
guys
Actually,
are out
if
of
we go
control.
back to stage 2, it's a 10-0 streak and it's the longest active streak of wins put together by any team other than, well, I guess it ties technically an NYXL 10 game stretch where they won, but it's the only one that's currently active.
Yeah.
So Boston has been on fire, and
No one can stop them.
Yes, but it's also been very squeaky wins a couple of times. I think they've had 3 or 4 wins where it was 3-2.
Yeah. They brought. I think NYXL brought them to 3-2 the fifth match, and I think there was another one, wasn't there? London and NYXL, I believe, both brought them to the fifth match, and that is still showing that London has the fire within them, but they're just losing a lot of matches left and right. So, but it's
Boston was
interesting.
also brought to 3-2 against Florida Mayhem, surprisingly.
Yeah, well, look, I'm telling you, Florida is the most underrated team in this league. I think, besides of course, the Shanghai Dragons. But I really think that Florida has the potential to be really great, and they're just getting duped. Maybe not playing to their. Maybe the nerves get to them. I don't really know why they keep losing, but they should win some more matches. I wish they did.
I think they will too. In the stage 4, for sure, they'll have a little bit more time. The meta might change slightly. It might get into their favor. I have faith in Florida overall. They've done a lot better recently, even though, as you'll highlight later, they couldn't get hard carried.
Don't. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Who are getting hard carried into the playoffs? I don't know if there are many teams, probably NYXL by Jonak, just kidding.
Yeah, no,
but
it's just
that are
Jonak.
guaranteed spots in the Stage 3 playoffs are Boston Uprising and NYXL. There's no way
Definitely.
that any team can knock them out. LA Valiant are almost guaranteed a spot. They play this week against Philly Fusion and against Boston Uprising, I think. So there's a chance that if they drop both of those matches and like 4-0 losses, that they could get knocked out of the
Yeah.
Stage 3 playoffs, but it doesn't seem very likely. In fact, I would rate them as more than an 80 to 90% chance of getting in, with the other team being the LA Gladiators, which is a much more difficult contest. What do you think, Julian?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I believe that LA Valiant has a tough week ahead of them, but I think that let's say they lose against Boston. I think we can all probably agree that that's probably. I would say that they have a big chance of losing to Boston. Boston's been playing, like we said, on fire, but we did say they did get squeaked by a couple times. I think they're definitely. Boston is 100% preparing for this LA Valiant match. They really want to, continue their streak, and so they're going to be super prepared. I believe LA Valiant will have to end up preparing for Boston as well, but they're willing to take the loss if they can also prepare for Philly Fusion and just assure themselves in the league. The playoffs.
Other team that the Boston Uprising has to face off this week is the LA Gladiators.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing of building a schedule based not off of the different teams, but on the alphabet. Building this schedule is fucking beyond me. It's crazy. Why would you build a schedule based off of the alphabet? I don't understand, but okay, let's do it.
No idea.
LA Valiant and LA Gladiators in the same week for almost every team that faces off against them. Sure, that seems like we want to see that every time. Okay. Anyway, back into it. So Boston has to face off against both the number 3 and 4 team currently, Valiant and Gladiators. So it might be likely that they might drop one of those games.
Yeah, it's they're very both teams are really great. Obviously, they've proved themselves. They're number 3 and 4 in stage 3 right now, and I think that Boston might finally slip up. You never know. We'll see. I don't
Let's
know
see
who
if the
against
stress
though.
will get to them. Stryker did cry earlier this in this stage after beating.
He can only carry mistakes so much. All right,
I
it's
know. So the other teams that have a shot of getting into the stage 4 playoffs, reaching that third or well, reaching the fourth place spot. Houston Outlaws, Philly Fusion, Seoul Dynasty, SF Shock. London has the slightest of outside shots,
right.
but really not. Everybody would have to lose basically for London to get
Everyone
in.
just loses every game.
And this isn't likely with Philly Fusion playing against Dallas Fuel this week. LA Gladiators are playing against Florida, and San Francisco Shock are also playing against Florida. Those are bottom of the table teams, which they should be able to beat out, even if it's only a slight victory. So any of the teams ahead of London winning one of their games means London is out for good. That
Right.
includes Valiant or Gladiators. So
Sorry,
the
London.
yes, the teams that I think are most likely to get in are LA Gladiators because they face off against Florida. Houston is a very tough road. They face off against Seoul and San Francisco Shock, so I don't think that they're more likely. Philly Fusion faces off against Dallas Fuel, which is kind of a burning mess. And
God damn it.
and none of the teams are going to face off against the Shanghai Dragons, so really, it's just, will the Gladiators beat Florida? Will San Francisco beat Florida? Will Philly beat Dallas? And then after they finish those games, can they beat one more opponent or have their map differential win out for them? This is why I think LA Valiant is assured their spot, because that plus 13 is really a good bank to have in terms
Definitely.
of that going in. And LA Gladiators having that plus 5 map differential is actually pretty important going into this week.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this week. Obviously, is it this week that the playoffs are as well?
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry, I
it'll
don't
be
know this.
on the weekend
Sunday,
that
right?
we'll have, yes, the playoffs. And that is an excellent transition into my important question. My important question is, with the presumptive number 1 seed being Boston Uprising, let's say Boston wins out both of their games this week and they're number 1. Who would you pick of the teams to face off with this new playoff format? The number 1 seed, again, gets to choose whether they face the number 2, 3, or 4 seed. So if you were Boston, who would you face off against in this round 1 of the stage 3 playoffs?
I'm gonna assume that they're not going to pick NYXL because I honestly think that NYXL is super pissed off that the one team that they lost to so far. I mean, maybe they lose to Shanghai. Who knows? This week, we don't know. But I'm pretty sure NYXL is 100% prepared to take on Boston right now. They've been practicing ever since they lost that match, and they lost to Boston. They're the only people that beat them this stage. So I'm sure NYXL is super pissed. So I would assume that they're going to pick. It's between LA Valiant and the Gladiators. So I don't know their history in terms of matchups between the two, but I would probably go for the Gladiators if I were Boston.
I would probably do that too. Also, I might have made a mistake. I think that NYXL also has a shot of being the number 1 seed here. So after they face off against Dallas Fuel and Shanghai Dragons,
Due to
they
yeah,
might, if Boston drops
that's
any
funny.
of these maps or any of these games,
If they do lose, yeah.
NYXL has the best chance of making number 1 seed if they can 4-0 both those teams.
Well, there you go.
So it might be
Hungover media
NYXL picking
professionals.
out LA Gladiators on the.
Well, okay. I mean, but to be fair, let's assume Boston is still on fire. they're this crazy blaze of winning. Just they can't lose. I think they picked the Gladiators because I believe the Valiant is a more consistent team, as we can see by Matt differential, and also they have I mean they have a better they've beaten the Gladiators in the past. So I honestly I think the Valiant is a more consistent team in terms of winning and pulling off key victories. So I think that I would honestly choose the Gladiators if I were them. I really
I
think they
would
will.
choose the Valiant. And I
You
say
choose
this,
the Valiant.
I would prefer to play the Valiant. I think the Valiant do really well against bottom tier teams. This stage, they don't face off against NYXL. So there's one loss that the LA Valiant should have more than I think the LA Gladiators, because they had LA Gladiators did have to face off against NYXL. So I think that the LA Valiant has lost to teams that I think NYXL judges to be the teams that they think they can comp to.
Okay.
Um, and LA Gladiators took NYXL to a 3-2. They took them to a map 5. We've seen Gladiators beat London Spitfire, beat other very strong teams. So I think I might take LA Valiant on in the first round and hope that the other team faces off against an LA Gladiators team that can have an upset and then face them in the finals.
Okay. It's look, either way, this is gonna be a pretty epic playoffs. So you guys should be sure to block off your Sunday for these matches. They're gonna be good.
Next up, we have the fact that we have basically eight or eight teams, I would say, that are vying for the top 6 spots. San Francisco Shock has an outside chance with their 10 wins, with the 12 games remaining in the season. But I think that 5 win difference is the real cutoff point. So I would say that the top 8 teams really are vying for those top 6 places, especially since they're 6 games back from or 7 games back from that 7th position.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco would have to really run the table at some point.
Well, there is a whole other stage that maybe they'll go on a Boston Uprising style win streak. You never know. I think Dante is really winning a couple games for them in key moments, and I think that the meta has indeed shifted in their favor. But we'll see what exact rules they're going to, what exact patch they're going to choose to play with
In stage 4.
in stage 4. Sorry, did I say
I
stage 5 earlier? I'm sorry.
I don't. I doesn't.
It's stage 4.
I think you
Confirmed.
said the last stage. We have one more stage to go.
Okay. Okay.
I do think that these are the top 8 teams are probably the strongest teams that we have now. San Francisco has a very hopeful future. They have a
Mm-hmm.
very young core. They're around 18. At least half the team is around 18. So I think that in the future
Those
they will
reaction
be a
times.
very strong team. Um, and I think that I don't see Boston staying at number 2 over the course of the next thing. But this, I think that it is going to be Houston Valiant and Philly vying for 5 and 6. I
Yeah.
think that Valiant will end up losing out and that Philly and Houston won't make it. But we'll see also if the Gladiators can make a run and if this Seoul Dynasty team is really going to maintain their elite status.
Yeah, I am honestly in shock that Seoul
SF
has.
shot.
I am in SF shock that the Seoul Dynasty has dropped to 4th place, and it seems like they're on their way down, going further at this rate. So I'm really interested to see how they do this week specifically.
Yeah, we saw in their
Yeah.
stage standings they're not that top tier. They're not even cracking the top 4 and have the least likely chance of making that top 4. They'd have to win out both games this week, which would knock out, Houston Outlaws, and
Yeah.
they would prove themselves against London Spitfire, which is something that Seoul needs to do in general to prove that they're an elite team. Um, but I think that their Seoul is trending downwards and the other teams are trending upwards. So
Yeah.
there's that. You know what else is trending upwards?
No clue, Vaughn. Tell me.
This is my segue into your juicy comp, which is trending upwards in the fan favorite segment.
Yes, this is the most popular segment that we have ever come up with in any show that we do. This is Julian's Juicy Comp. Roll the intro.
That guy's awesome! Awesome! He's awesome!
Yeah, you asked for it, everyone, and we finally got the Attack Torbjorn, the first time in Overwatch League that Torbjorn has ever been played on Attack. I believe he was played on defense once in Stage 1, but however, this is the first time he's ever played on Attack. The Houston Outlaws versus the LA Gladiators, Map 2 on Numbani. Gladiators are up, and Houston decides to pull a surprise tactic. Torbjorn on Jake. Jake plays Torbjorn. They've got Jake playing Torbjorn. They've got, how many times will I say that? They've got Zenyatta, Diva, Rissa, and in the back line, they've got Mercy and Widowmaker, which is pretty crazy if you ask me. Basically, they've got the pirate sail up. They have Linkser in the back picking off people that Torbjorn's turret has clearly done way more damage to than they needed to take. And honestly, it was a gimmick and it worked. That's all I gotta say.
Fucking stupid.
This is bronze level play, guys, and it's in the Overwatch League. It's awesome. He just keeps hammering that turret. It's great. How did he get it to level 2 again? That's my question.
Because of the Orisa shield. He did this only because Muma and Coolmat are one of the top 3 tank lines in Overwatch. It's annoying to the upteenth degree, and I hate this gimmick jokester. Anyway,
it was a juicy comp.
Juicy comp. Now that we're done with that gimmicky bullshit, fucking Torbjorn on Attack, let's talk about the things that really matter. Our players of the week. Julien, why don't you start us off?
Oh boy, today I'm choosing to highlight Saya player. He's a really excellent player on Florida Mayhem, and honestly, this guy wanted to win this game against the Valiant so badly that he decided to go Ultra Instinct on these motherfuckers. So he's playing Widowmaker in this moment. He gets a sick kill on the Genji, who I believe it was Agilities, who was the Genji. Genji was sitting back there waiting for Zenyatta to use his ultimate there in order to go in and use his Dragon Blade. And what Saya player does is, he totally just lays him out. It's just a keep moment that helped them capture the point, and I really wanted to highlight that. Over here we have him on Soldier 76, and he Diva's all up in his face. He's getting healed by his Zebosai, which is pretty sick, and really this whole play sort of works its way out, and Soldier ends up using his ultimate, I believe, a little further on in the video, right here, and it cleans up the point. A really coordinated attack from the entire team, and Saya player just sort of sitting back here, getting out of the way of an ulting Pharah and just killing her. Pretty sweet play over here, and I think he gets another ult. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And just backing up, Winston's all up in his face, no problem, no big deal. He's got the support of his team. Over here we have him on McCree, so he's obviously taken up the DPS role as he does. Takes out Pharah over here, who is raining damage on his entire team. As you can see, they are at 96% the Valiant, and then I think this is really where he shined the most. So on Route 66, he managed to take out Soon a million times. So Soon never got to play Overwatch, essentially, in Route 66. But really, the next play, I think they should have won this map on. It's coming up over here. I guess this is it. Wait, sorry. No, sorry. It's coming up next. I'm sorry. I get too excited. This is a really great play. He gets a triple kill. The team's pushing the payload. It looks like they're going to win because of this play. You don't see a Widowmaker taking out the entire team in the front line. And that's exactly what he does. He takes out Soon, no big deal. He's been doing that all day. Mercy flies over. He kills both supports, and then he gets Genji in the end as he's running away. And they really should have won it off of this, but it looks like Florida, the rest of the Florida team, did not want to win this match. I'm sorry. So sad.
It was ridiculous how good Saya player was on that map, and there were other moments like his Widow play is exemplary. I have no idea how this guy wasn't signed at the beginning of Overwatch League. Are you telling me that there are teams in Overwatch League that didn't have use of a guy who was that skilled on Widow? Okay, I get that it's the Mercy meta, but we know that it's going to change. Oh, just like understand the future of what you're doing. Anyway, Florida was great to snap this guy up. He's excellent in terms of their hit scan DPS, but he also has a very good tracer. As one of those same star DPS hero concepts like Widow, Tracer, and McCree. So yeah, it's a joy to watch Saya player. Just like highlighting Saya player, I'm going to highlight another Korean player on a team that isn't a Korean team. Last week I highlighted Gesture. I'm fascinated with his ability to play aggressively and conservatively. He can switch his styles a lot, and I'm going to highlight a player that I think doesn't switch his styles as well, but plays aggressively better. So this week I'm going to highlight Fissure. Fissure plays main tank for the LA Gladiators. Here we can see on this map, which is Blizzard World, their attack, LA Gladiators is attacking against London Spitfire. It's here that Fissure pushes out. And as you can see, his push out right here at this moment causes the London Spitfire to do what? That's right, C9. His aggressive playstyle makes him an excellent tank for this team, who uses the ability of players like Surefour on that hit scan, Asher on that tracer to just destroy other people's teams. He creates a bunch of space, gets a lot of kills. You can see he made Closer miss his res and got a triple kill that was followed up by also killing the Genji. Here he gets the pin onto Gesture. It was beautiful, allowing the team to cap the point. Later, he does a lot to protect his team against Hureg on the Junkrat. I think Hureg got 3 or 4 tires on this map that did 0 kills.
Nice.
Mostly because of Fissure's ability to protect his team. You can see here how he plays with the team and pushing forward, especially in combination with Bishu. I think they are one of the better tank combos that we have now in the Overwatch League. Here is him taking out one of those Riptires. I think Fissure is a fantastic player and one of the better tanks that we have in all of Overwatch League, and I think he's probably 1 or 2.
Yeah.
As soon as he got into Gladiators, they went on an incredible hot streak, and they haven't been going down. So, yeah.
The tank role is the most important role.
That's what I keep telling everybody who we play with, and they keep not thanking me and thanking the DPS. So, whatever. You know what I am thankful for in this upcoming week?
No idea, Vaughn.
Some fantastic games of Overwatch, especially with the stage playoffs on the line. A game that I'm going to highlight happens very early this week. It's SF Shock versus the Houston Outlaws. This is on May 2nd at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. It's pretty late. It's the last game on the first day of Week 5. And this is a competition between two teams who are on the verge of getting that 4th place for the stage playoffs. Both of them are fairly good. I expect Houston to come out ahead in this match. But we'll see. Is this a match in which Sinatra, Space, and Dante can prove themselves as a world-class team? Going up and defeating a Houston team, which seems to be like the barometer of whether you're an elite team or subpar.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. I can't wait to see that game, Vaughn. But I think I have another game to highlight for you. And that's the other game that Houston's also playing, because we're both interested. We know that Boston and New York are going to be in the playoffs. We don't really need to pay attention to them, all right? Unless you want to see some sick Jonak kills and Striker kills. We all know they're great.
Obviously, we're going to watch them, but we don't care about the results.
Look, I'm just saying the results of this game also matter a lot. This is Houston's other game. They're playing against the Seoul. Seoul is also in the runnings to be put into the playoffs if they are lucky enough. If things go in their direction, and they come out on top of the Houston Outlaws, they and also win their other game, they could possibly be in the playoffs. We'll see. But Houston definitely needs to secure this win if they want to win, be in the playoffs. And this is a very formidable foe. Obviously, the Seoul Dynasty, we know, is a pretty decent team. At least nowadays, they're just pretty decent. They used to be excellent, but who knows? So I think that Houston stands a pretty decent chance of winning this match, and I really hope that Jake pulls out Torbjorn again. That's all I got to say.
I think Houston is an intriguing team to play. They're always pretty good. They've done really well against a lot of the Korean teams, as we know. They've done well against London Spitfire in the past. I think the other thing to know about like their matchup with Seoul Dynasty is Seoul Dynasty, I think, has found their DPS pair in Munchkin and Fleta, with Wakid coming in every now and then to do a better Junkrat or something. But it seems that Miro has gone down in his level. They're playing Zephyr over Zumba, so it's intriguing to know like what exactly is going to happen with the Seoul Dynasty team. Where is their lineup going to stabilize in terms of being successful altogether? And I think that although Jaehong came into the league as probably one of the most well-known stars, he's come out now at very, very low in terms of that all-star support team member because he's just been taking out too much. Miro isn't protecting him, so we can see how this Houston team does against a solid but declining team.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good week, guys. I can't wait. I can't wait.
There we go. All right, and I can't wait for you to like, subscribe, tune into our other shows. We have a podcast on Mondays, a Let's Play and or Overwatch video review on Fridays, or something interesting that we put out because we're interested in doing a lot of different kinds of videos. No Jeff Kaplan mashups now, but maybe in the future. Who knows?
Hey, I really want to go through every single word he said and cut it out like a psychopath, so I'll totally do that.
Yes. Yep. It is our homage to the classic sitcom. Kid actually kidnaps himself and leaves the ransom note. In any case, thank you so much for tuning in this week, and we'll see you after the Stage 3 playoffs.
See you guys.